all doing today?
Doing great.
All right. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Trish Rayner, and I am going to demonstrate how to make a high-fiber, low-fat, delicious waffle today, and I'm going to go through step-by-step on how to do it. These are really easy, really good for you, and I've never had any complaints with people on eating them. So, it's very simple. We're just going to start with what I have here is I've got my waffle iron all hot and ready to go, and then we have the blender here. Now what we're going to do is it's the simplest recipe ever. We're just going to put all of our ingredients into the blender, we're going to blend it, and then it's ready to go. So we're going to start. The recipe calls for 2 cups of oats. So I've got 2 cups of oats here. Just going to go ahead and put those oats in, and then it calls for 2 cups of water. We've got 2 cups of water here. We're going to pour that in. Okay. Now, if you have a Vitamix, this is very easy to do. You can just put in all of the ingredients, turn it on. Now, if you have a traditional blender that may not be as high power, you may want to put in all of your ingredients and then save the oats for last and put them in about ½ a cup to a cup at a time. But if you have the Vitamix like this, you're easy. You can just dump it all in. Next, it calls for ½ a can of garbanzo beans. You can use any kind of canned garbanzo beans. Sure, you could do it with fresh garbanzo beans too, but who has the time to go prepare fresh ones when you could buy the can, rinse them just the same. So this is ½ of a can of garbanzo beans or a cup and a half, either way. Dump those in, and then next it calls for a 1/4 a cup of cornmeal or millet flour, whichever one you have in the house you can use. This happens to be cornmeal, so we're going to use cornmeal. This is a 1/4 a cup of cornmeal. Dump that in. Next it calls for ½ a teaspoon of salt. We got ½ a teaspoon here.
Trish, does it matter if you use quick or?
It does not matter because you're just going to blend it all up so it's going to become a batter. Quick or rolled or old-fashioned, whatever you happen to have in the house is just fine. And it calls for ½ of a teaspoon of oil, 1 teaspoon of honey, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla. So that's what the wet ingredients are here, and we're just going to pour that in.
And what kind of oil is that?
This is just corn oil. The reason we do the oil, and it's just a little bit, and that's for a whole batch, is so that when you're baking them in here, it doesn't tend to stick. If you have no oil at all, it tends to stick to the waffle iron, and so then you have to use more cooking spray, which ends up being probably more oil than the ½ a teaspoon that we put in the recipe. So that's all you do. You dump it in, then we're going to put our lid on, make sure it's nice and tight so that food doesn't go flying out, because I don't know about you guys, but I've done that before. So now we're just going to turn it on, slowly turn it up. Now what we're going to do, I'll let it blend first. Okay, you just blend it until just the oats are chopped up and everything's mixed in. So, then you have your waffle batter, good to go. Now, say you want to make your waffle batter, but you don't want to make your waffles right away. You can put this in a container and put it in the fridge for a day or two, and when you're ready to make your waffles, if you want them fresh, then you can just put it on your waffle iron then. Or you can do it at the same time, either way. So, we got our waffle iron ready to go here. It's nice and hot. You just pour it on, like so. Close your waffle iron, wait about 2 minutes, and you have a fresh, homemade, delicious waffle that's good for you, that holds you over, that's got a ton of fiber, and it's delicious.
What about if I don't want to make them all now?
Yeah, like I said.
Or if I do make them all now, what do I do if I'm not going to eat them all now?
Yes, okay. If you do make your whole batch and you're not going to eat them the same day, definitely keep them in the fridge or the freezer. Because there's no preservatives in them, they will spoil if you leave them out. You know, if you buy, usually you will buy a waffle in the freezer section. Well, homemade, same thing. You can keep them in the freezer, pop them out, put them in the toaster or the oven. or keep them in the fridge, either way. Do you have any questions?
Smell good.
It smells good. I agree, yes.
What do you top them with?
What do you top them with? You can top them with whatever you prefer. I tend to like almond butter or peanut butter and some applesauce. Or sometimes just I will have some cut up berries and some maybe granola to add a little crunch. You could use,
Maple syrup?
maple syrup. You could do agave, honey, any kind of a topping that you want. Or if you're in a bind, sometimes I've done just use it as bread and kind of make a breakfast sandwich out of the waffle. Just put a little bit of peanut butter and some jelly, fold that puppy together, hit the car, and drive safe.
Is it finished? Can you show the finish?
It's not finished yet, but it will be finished soon. Yes.
I made them and put blueberries in.
Oh, very good idea.
blueberries.
Yeah, I bet.
Oh.
Did you use
In the mix.
whole fresh blueberries? Whole fresh blueberries. That's a very good idea. You could definitely do that. Yes.
I use them to make pancakes, and I thin out the batter a little bit.
Okay.
But the one thing you have to know is only thin what you're gonna use that day and leave the rest in the fridge. Because if you add the water, it does become a little bit thinner the next day. If you've added water, it's too thin.
It's too thin. That's awesome. All right. Well, there you go. It's almost done here. Almost. And then you guys will get to see what it looks like. But you guys will, of course, be smelling. Yes. Go ahead.
What would you do with the sample?
Because we have a whole batch here. How about we will play some game or some type of bingo, and we will raffle off the fresh waffles. And you guys, if you're lucky, you'll get to take them home. You can have them. You can eat them now or wait. You're on it. All right. So it's ready. So real quick, just gonna pull it out here. Now, grab a utensil here real quick. And
Kathy, you're so funny.
And you've got a fresh, delicious.
The one time that I made them, because I don't make them too often, since I'm single and I don't use too much of the freezer and whatnot, I put PB2 in it.
Now for anybody who doesn't know what PB2 is, it's a powdered peanut butter substitute.
In
So
the mix.
yes, and so did you add any extra water? Or did you just add it?
I just
Okay.
added the PB2.
You could then make, and then if you mushed up some bananas, you could make banana peanut butter waffles.
Oh, wow.
Awesome. That's a very good idea. All right. Sweet. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And enjoy.